no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what you look like, no matter what your last name, no matter who you love.
Joining me now for today's political power panel are Margie Omero, Democratic strategist and president of Momentum, analyst Robert Traynham, a MSNBC contributor, former communications director for Senator Rick Santorum, and Patricia Murphy, editor of Citizen Jane Politics. Welcome to all three of you. Glad you're here. Patricia, I'm going to reach out to you first because I understand you were the last one to get seated and mic'd up. So here we go. The president spoke of marriage equality a second time yesterday while at the big old fundraiser there at actor George Clooney's house. And here's what he said. Yesterday, we made some news, but the truth is it was a logical extension of what America is supposed to be. There was speculation that hedging on this issue damaged the Obama brand. Do you think the White House is in a repair mode, or has it already succeeded?
Well, I think with this group in particular, they've probably already succeeded. This group was waiting for the president, and they were very frustrated, I think, with the president that he hadn't come out sooner. I do think his hand was forced, obviously, by Vice President Joe Biden when he came out with his own comments. But I think just hearing the president say that every American should be able to get married to whomever they choose if they love them, I think that's what this group wanted to hear. They are predisposed to like this president already. This is one glaring piece that they were very upset with him about. I think that he's repaired those relationships by now.
Okay. Margie, there's been a lot of discussion about the role of Vice President Biden in all this, having been the catalyst, if you will, because of what he said on Meet the Press less than a week ago now. His son, Beau Biden, spoke out about this on Morning Joe. Let's take a listen to what he said.
You know, my dad spoke from his heart about a very important issue, about civil rights. I'm incredibly proud of what he said. I'm even more proud of what the President of the United States said.
The White House is also saying that on Wednesday at some point, Vice President Biden personally apologized to the president because of, quote, forcing his hand. The president accepted that, but was that necessary?
Well, I think ultimately the rollout of this is a insider game. It's an insider conversation, and it's inside of the White House and those who follow the White House and watch this closely. For swing voters, ultimately, it's the contrast between the two presidential candidates, and however much you may think President Obama doesn't want to talk about this issue, Mitt Romney really doesn't want to talk about this issue. President Obama clearly feels a lot more confident and comfortable talking about this than Mitt Romney, who just can't get traction on these social issues and has a real discomfort.
Yeah. Robert, let's talk about campaigning here, because the Obama campaign is using the president's endorsement to draw a comparison with Mitt Romney. So here's the new ad from the campaign. Check this out. As with anything, Robert, when one campaign feels they have a winning strategy and something to go with, it can get overplayed. Does the president risk that here?
A little bit. Look, as a gay American who's out, obviously the president is on the right side of history with this, so I need to say that. But there's two things that we need to really distinguish here. First and foremost, this is his personal view. There's nothing that's going to change from a federal standpoint. And he's got to be very careful here in terms of raising people's expectations a little bit too much in terms of gay Americans, because quite frankly, again, there's nothing federally that's going to change here. And I have to say this because it's the obvious, is that I think it's also ironic, but also in a good way, that the president is ironically taking Vice President Cheney's stance on this, which is where he personally believes that gay lesbians should be able to marry, but it should be ultimately up to the states.
Patricia, Mitt Romney addressed the president's invoking of marriage equality at yesterday's fundraisers that he had. Listen to this.
I hope the issue, as tender and sensitive as the marriage issue is not a source of fundraising for either of us.
They're focusing on the fundraising element. Is this now what the Romney campaign will focus on, or be a Republican argument against the president's evolution?
Well, I think all the Republicans want to do is get back to the economy. I think they're just saying, listen, the president has his own reasons. They're probably political. That's what Republicans say. This is all about politics for the president. We're focused on what Americans are focused on. And it's true, the Americans are most focused on the economy. This is going to be an election about jobs and the economy. And for Romney, it's a very smart tactic. Americans actually, in a lot of polls, trust him more on the economy than President Obama. They like the president more, but they might trust Romney more on the economy. So I think the Republicans want to focus focus solely on the economy between now and November, and that's how they dismiss every other issue and get back to the issue they want to talk about.
Yeah, I'm going to get to Margie with a question in a second, but go ahead, Robert, except I wanted to ask you something, being that you're the Republican here, the out-Republican, if you will. Speaker Boehner had tried to turn the political conversation away from the social issues, move it all back to the economy yesterday. Listen to what he said.
I believe that marriage is the union of one man and one woman. And the president and the Democrats can talk about all this all they want. But the fact is, the American people are focused on our economy, and they're asking the question, where are the jobs?
Are Republicans, Robert, afraid to take on the social issues? Because by most accounts, they are in the minority across this country. So they can look at these social issues as being like quicksand. Is that why they want to focus on the economy?
Well, I'm not sure that's entirely accurate, Alex. Look, the bottom line is I think most Americans out there, I think the latest poll that I saw, about 51%, just a slim majority, are saying, we don't care who you sleep with. We don't care what faith that you worship. What we care about is the economy. Please make sure, Mr. President and members of the United States Senate and Congress, make sure that you work together to get this economy moving again. That's the most important issue when it comes to the polls. That's the most important issue when you take a look at 8.2 unemployment. That is the #1 issue that Americans really care about, and they feel passionate about, and that they want the president and Republican leaderships to work on. It's not about gay marriage. It's not about abortion. It's not about some of these social issues. It's about the economy. And that's exactly what Republicans are saying, and that's exactly what the American people are begging people to listen to.
So what do you think, Margie, with regard to the Democratic convention coming up in North Carolina? Will this be, particularly in North Carolina, is this going to be a platform based on just the economy, or are we going to hear all about the social issues like LGBT equality and gay rights and the like?
I think you're going to hear about all of that and how they're related. You're going to hear about women's issues, and you're going to hear about the contrast between the two candidates. And it means that President Obama is about moving forward. And when you look at gay marriage in particular, but a whole host of other issues, nothing really emphasizes forward as much as this difference between the two candidates.
Can you, though, categorize in a priority? Will it be economy still the #1 thing on the agenda?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's really going to be about who has a better vision to get the country continuing on the right track. Under Obama's administration, there's been 4.25 million new private sector jobs, and Mitt Romney says whatever Obama does, he's going to do the opposite. So I guess he's the opposite of that, or he's the opposite of making sure there's mandatory maternity care coverage and those types of things that people really like.
Okay. Margie Omero, Robert Traynham, Patricia Murphy, always a good chat with all three of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.